Good morning, everyone. How are you today? And welcome to our Founders Conversation, April edition, which will be talking about smart business, leveraging tech for sustainable growth. So, my name is Kathy Kariuki, coordinator with Founders Profit Academy, FPA, which is a community within our Small Founders Association. At FPA, we help business owners grow, scale, and thrive through our specialized coaching framework. In my role, I support our licensed training coaching programs where we provide the tools and support entrepreneurs to reach their full potential. Today, we're excited to dive into a critical topic for SMEs, which is tech-driven systems streamlining your business for growth. As you're aware, today's fast-paced world, entrepreneurs must build systems that don't rely on them being in the room. Today's session, we explore how to create efficient business systems powered by technology, from automating simple tasks to managing finances, customer relationships, and inventory. In addition, we are going to learn how to streamline operations, reduce costs, and scale with ease. I'm thrilled to introduce to you today our speaker, Faith Gadongo. So let me read a bit about her bio. So Faith is the CEO, master franchisee of Young Engineers Kenya, which is an educational program that provides theoretical knowledge and practical implementation in STEM, that is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics basics. So, as a STEM enthusiast, Faith provides an environment that enables the next generation of innovators in Africa to acquire 21st century skills by creating critical thinkers, increasing science literacy, and problem solving skills. Prior to Young Engineers Kenya, she had acquired a wealth of experience in general management, corporate finance, commercial and business strategy, business model generation, having spent over 15 years in different roles within the events, manufacturing, and education sectors in East and South Africa. Faith holds a Master in Management, PMD, from Wits Business School in Johannesburg, South Africa, also a Bachelor's of Commerce in Finance and a Business Administration from Daystar University in Kenya. She also holds the Golden Key International Honor Award. Please join me in welcoming Faith Gadongo.
Thank you, Kathy. Such a
Karibu
pleasure
sana.
to be here today and looking forward to a conversation. Thank you.
Karibu sana. Right. Let's dive in. So let's start off with understanding tech-driven systems. So you can kindly tell us what are they and how do they differ from the traditional business tools or processes?
Okay. Thank you, Kathy, again. It's such an honor to be here today. And let's dive in. So, what are tech-driven systems? Tech-driven systems are basically solutions or systems that are built in by organizations that are powered by technology. Of course, with the cutting edge technologies now, there's a lot of infrastructure and systems that function to improve efficiency in businesses, of course, and reduce cost. Most of when we talk about tech driven system, we are basically just saying that these are systems that are able to deliver services better or achieve certain objectives of the business. But what happens is behind the scene, there's software and hardware that are put together with digital platforms that have been able to empower or create efficiency in businesses. This, of course, differ from our traditional ways of doing things manually, and also the traditional ways of having like what we are doing in terms of customer service, where you have a one-on-one customer service interaction. So it's basically just moving away from those traditional methods of doing things and now having software interventions that can be able to do the tasks that we've basically been doing over time. I hope that explains what tech-driven systems are. I would like to give you examples of tech-driven systems. One of them that you've been hearing, the buzzword, is AI. I think everyone is scared of AI. It's the buzzword, everyone is talking about it.
It's the
But
animal.
AI is not replacing. Yes, it's not here to replace any human being. So we shouldn't be scared. These are just systems of software that are going to improve and make our work more efficient. So we should not be scared of this kind of systems. So one of them is the automation system, where we're talking about robotics and AI, which is the field that I'm in now. And then we have others like data-driven system. For example, most of us business owners use Google Drive to store our information. So that is a part of technology. And Google Drive makes part of the cloud-based systems that we are currently using. That's a software it's used to process data, and it's able to enable businesses scale. So if you've heard of AWS, that's also another system of cloud-based system. Then the smart systems. This is where we are hearing words like Internet of Things. Smart technologies are the ones nowadays, if you're building a home, you can be able to build a smart home where everything is automated. The lights are automated, the music is automated, and I'm sure also you've seen in malls where, for example, you're in the bathrooms and the lights go on and go off. Those are smart systems. We will be in places where probably you're buying a property and they have a virtual reality. They're showing you how the home would look like. That's smart systems. We are also in places where now sensors are being used, for example, airports, or even nowadays we have robot cafes, where now the system, the sensors are the ones used to be able to adapt to what it is that we are ordering for, or delivery systems that we are using. So smart systems are part of that, cloud-based systems, data-driven systems, and now the AI, which is now the automated systems where you're doing chat boxes, where, like, for example, if you're doing customer service at Safaricom, instead of the person answering your call, it's a chat box that has already been programmed to answer the calls. So you see, these are not the traditional ways we used to do things, where you had a person on the call 24 hours. Now it is a better and smarter way of doing things. So technology is here to enhance efficiency, to help us in decision-making processes, and to provide innovations. I hope I've explained a bit clearer now.
Yes, you have. In fact, when you have talked about the smart systems, it has just hit me that I think in my mind I've been so focused on the one that you have talked about, the smart technologies, especially for the automation in terms of house. But now when I've thought about the hospitality industry, especially when you go to use the bathrooms, I've never thought about, the water basin, the
Yeah.
way you put it's actually sensor driven in terms of my hand and all that. Even I think even using
Yes.
the air dryer, the hand dryer, right?
Yes. Yes.
But
Yes. They
we've
all
never
use
thought about.
sensors. Yeah.
Mm,
So it's in our
yeah.
everyday life, by the way. It's just that I think when we hear the big words, we get so caught up in the big words. So when you hear Internet of Things, it sounds like, wow, what's that? So it's a big deal, but not really a big deal. It's actually the things we're using every other day. The only difference is that most of us are not aware. And so there's a
Yes.
general term for those things that the layman
Mm,
does not know. But of course, the tech person will use
yes.
such big words, which sometimes is quite intimidating.
No, I won't get
Yeah, yeah,
intimidated.
yeah. But yeah, yes, yes. So I don't know if I
So
answered
yes,
your
you have.
full question. Yes.
Yes, you have.
Okay.
You've even bitten into a bit of our next question, but probably you'll guide us
Mhm.
as a small business owner. Probably what factors would we need to consider when selecting tech-driven systems
Mhm.
for our operations?
Mm. All right. So, tech-driven systems, we say that can enhance efficiency and productivity in very many ways. But one of the things that I find that our business, especially the small business owners, are challenged and should consider before we get into this kind of investments or being able to integrate this to our businesses. One is cost and budget. Cost and budget for a small business is a big deal. We work on limited budgets, and many times you're not able to plan for this technology to be part of your processes. However, the long term, in the long term, the business gets to benefit much more. So my advice is, as a business owner, is to start small. Start small by maybe starting with subscription fees and training of staff for maintenance of the systems you purchase or the systems you plan to implement. So, cost and budget is a big one. Then, for businesses, because we all want to grow, so there's scalability, and as SFA, we are very big on scalability. So, we need to choose systems that can grow with the business. As a business expands, the tech systems should be flexible enough to integrate those demands. And so, even as you start small, you still have to choose a system that can be able to scale as the business grows, so that then you don't have another big investment to put in when you're expanding to maybe another location or expanding the business with more staff or more services that you're offering. Another thing we have to consider is the ease of use. For most of us who are not necessarily tech savvy, you have a team that is not necessarily tech savvy. So even as you train them, it's very important to have a user friendly system for your employees that they can quickly adapt, and even you as a business owner, because some of these systems require a lot of extensive training. But if you start small, even your employees will be easy to adapt. They will also not be resistant to the change, because obviously technology brings a lot of change and everyone is threatened whether their job is at stake. Another one is, if you already have an existing system, it's very important to integrate your existing system with the one you're adopting. So you look for systems that can integrate so that you're also able to adapt smoothly. You're not losing data, or you're not at risk of losing data because the older system cannot work with the new system. Another one we're big on is data privacy. I'm sure you've heard the government regulations on data privacy. This is a big one. And for us business owners, we're always dealing with customer data. It's very important to consider security for your customer, because otherwise you will be having legal tussles of why the data has been hacked or why data has been found elsewhere. So security and data privacy is of utmost importance. Another one of things to consider is ask for reviews and reputation of the system you're using. Do your research as a business owner, ask for testimonials from other business owners. If they've tried that system before you purchase it or you use it for your business, because sometimes you can try something that fails miserably and it's such a high cost for you. So just having your research done or reviews, asking for opinions from other business owners who've tried the tool would be very important. Last but not least is customization. You see, we're all in different businesses. There's a person in agribusiness like you, Kathy. There's a person like me who is dealing with the young learners. We all need different things. Customers are different. The system that works for me may not work for you. So, for example, my invoicing system may be very different from your invoicing system. or the way my reports are done for my clients is very different from the kind of reports you need to produce for your clients. And so in that case, you need to have a tech system that is customized to fit your workflows and as tools. For example, because you're big on training. So your CRM should be very different from mine because you're big on training. I'm big on training, but your kind of training is very different. So your CRM, which is your customer management tool, looks very different from mine. So it's very important for us to customize our systems or look to customize your system so that it can be able to integrate well with what you do. Those are some of the factors you need to consider when you're working on your system. Excuse me. Excuse me. I got a bit of a flu. Let me drink some
Take
water.
some water. Yeah, take some water.
Yes.
So sorry. Much better. You seem to
Much
be
better.
sipping very many, taking very many concussions there.
Yes.
You'll get well.
It's important
Sorry.
to me. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
All right. Um,
Mhm.
you've mentioned something as regards a bit of the what to consider. Probably
Mhm.
can give us an example when it comes to the utilization and integration. So the small business has now adopted a
Excuse me. Mhm.
system into their daily
Mhm.
operations. So how can they go
Mhm.
about it without disrupting workflows? I want you to give us, or maybe I can offer an example. So there's an agrovet. There's an agrovet where assisting in developing uh, their strategy. So
Mhm.
they have a system. I'll put it the layman's
Mhm.
language now. So don't laugh at me the way I describe it. I'm going to
No,
describe it
no worries.
as is.
Don't worry. No.
So they have a system. The system is able to have the product specifications. As you're aware, in the agrovet, how we have the animal feeds, we have the pesticides, fertilizers, and of course, a dozen and one brand names, different sizes, and so on and so forth. But you find that the small business owner has not utilized
Mhm.
the system further in a way that it can
Mhm.
actually get reports, for example, per product,
Mhm.
per supplier of the different products. So to me, that came in because I was like, you have a system, but you picked it like you only know it's for one thing. Okay, first of all,
Mhm.
you tell yourself, I've digitized my operations, okay? But I'm not utilizing it fully. So it's the way I can have, how some people you buy, remember how when the smartphones first came in and
Yes.
before we
So
started doing,
excited.
yeah, you can actually, you
Mhm.
can use a camera. Yeah, then, oh, I can actually send a message, a photo message, and so on and so forth. So probably you can guide us using that particular example.
Okay. Thank you, Kathy, for that example. And by the way, just to demystify this thing about technology, there's usually for most people who may not feel like they are very tech savvy, it's just
Mhm.
about asking the questions, just like you're asking. There's nothing
Mhm.
to laugh about or to be laughed at because you've asked a question. It's better to ask than not to ask.
Yeah.
So,
Ah.
looking at your example for your aggravate, so you want to create a system that is able to enhance efficiency and increase productivity. Okay. Just a minute, just some water, please. Sorry about that. So, one of the things you need to do is identify the key areas for automation. For example, what are your daily tasks? From just that, what you asked me right now, what are your daily tasks? Give me an example. Are you tracking your customer? Are you building an inventory system where you know what your stocks are? What is your day to day routine every day that makes that business thrive? Is it scheduling for meetings with the clients? Is it customer communication? So back to you, Kathy. What is the main hurdle? What is the daily task for your agrovet?
I think keeping track of the inventory, because
Good.
when we are trying to look at the financial health of the business, you cannot even obviously tell how much inventory is sold and how fast. How are they able to replenish, and even assist also in the ordering system? Because you can see you can't be ordering every day. That doesn't make sense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm,
So, number one, you've identified the key area that needs to be automated. You want to
yeah.
reduce these repetitive tasks that you're doing every day that bog you down, that make it difficult to track, that sometimes stock is out and no, you're not even aware that stock is out. You're caught off guard. So that's the one thing. So that's the area you're going to automate. So, on
Yeah.
identify that, now what you need to do is now you start small. You will go out and research on a system that can be able to automate that part of the business. And they're there. Ask for help,
Mm,
of course, from IT
yeah.
specialists and from people, of course, that are selling this. Then, when you
Uh,
start small, also
yeah.
you're training your staff in how to use that particular system. There are very many systems now for inventory management, just the same way there are many systems for customer relationship management. There are many systems. What you should do is avoid implementing too many systems at the same time because that will confuse you and also will overwhelm your staff. So you choose the one. Like I said, you have to make sure it's user friendly. So as you choose that, you must be able to use it yourself and make sure your own staff can be able to use it. Most of the time, cloud-based tools, like I was saying with our customer base, cloud-based tools like Google Workspaces, for example, are very easy to work with. Like
Yeah.
Google Drive, for example, is very easy to work
Yeah.
with. I'm just using another
Yeah.
system now. People
Yeah.
who are in finance, they use QuickBooks. QuickBooks is very easy to learn tool for both the own business owner and also if you have a team. So
Yeah.
these are great examples of just easy to use or user friendly systems. Now train your staff in phases. Don't train or don't use too much or put too much knowledge to train the staff. Just train them in phases. So we are starting with this level. This is what needs to be done. This is how we'll achieve efficiency. Then on that, we are graduating to the next level. We're going to add another system that will be doing ABCD, maybe enable us to communicate to customers better. Okay. So
Yeah.
one factor I said is you've identified the area for automation. Second, I said you
Yes.
start small and scale
Yes.
gradually. Thirdly, I
Yes.
said choose a system that is friendly and has tools that are easy to work with. Then train your
Yeah.
staff in phases.
It is.
One of the things about these tools is when you have clear objectives and you're able to track your progress, it's easy to be able to keep adding on tools that make it even better or make it even more efficient and make you achieve the goals that you want faster. The one other
Mm,
thing that we always forget when you're setting up system is backup. I talked about security. Sometimes we
yeah.
set up the security system, but we forget back. Just like your phone. Then when it crashes, your world comes to a standstill. So as much as you're getting to this system, you also have to ensure that not only does it have data security features, but it can back up all the information that you have put in. You don't want to lose all your data. Another important aspect for business owners is to maintain a human touch. Tech is very important, but also prioritize your human touch. Your human touch is your customer service experience and also your staff. You cannot replace that aspect even though you are using technology. And the person behind the person behind the technology that you're efficiently using is also human. As they are being trained, you also need to understand that they need to understand that they are being empowered or being given a job or jobs of the future so that they can also be able to keep a job. Because what's happening is that we are more afraid of technology, not realizing the fact that we are not equipped to use that technology is where we are losing the jobs. So it's to ensure also your staff know that they are being empowered to use technology so that they can keep a job, as opposed to technology is going to replace them. So that aspect is also very important. Also, get feedback from your employees. This system you have put in to help your inventory system, stock in, stock out, what are the reorder levels? Is it really effective? Get feedback. Your teams are the ones using this system every day. You can be able to improve more if you get feedback also on how it's working or how effective it is. Okay? I believe I have answered your question.
Oh yes, and put in a very good nugget. I like that one, especially when you're saying that the entrepreneur should make the employees feel empowered to use the technology, because many a times when the new system is introduced, the only person who uses it is the owner.
Yeah,
So the
that's
first
where
the
we
first
go wrong.
almost three yeah the first 3 weeks it's only you. So you come, we have to eat, you
Yes,
come, whatever it is, I have to keep calling all of you, come to the office, want to tell me ahead, then wasting a lot of time, as you have said.
and
And if
100% yes.
unfortunately, yes, and unfortunately, like the way today you're feeling a bit unwell, and you might come in briefly for an hour and say, you know what, I'm not coming back the rest of the hours of the day, and probably now you don't show up even tomorrow until
Yes,
Monday. You can imagine what Monday will be like.
yes.
Where do we start? So that's a good nugget.
Can
Thank
you
you. Thank you for
imagine?
that. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And just to add on to that, Kathy, that's why when you, Kathy, travel, everything stops because you go with the business. But if your team is empowered, they're able to continue working while you're away. And the
Yeah.
systems actually make your life much easier because
Yeah.
you are even able to check and track progress on your phone
Mm,
or whatever on your laptop when you're away. That gives you an opportunity to go out, look for more business, or go out and network and create more social capital for your business. So, as a business owner, we need to look at these tools as empowering tools, and that's why our teams have to be involved as well.
yes, for sure. For sure. For sure. Let's come to risks and challenges.
Yeah.
You've talked
Hmm.
about the backup, the backup system. So
Yeah.
I'm going to ask it again in the layman's language. So I've gotten the system
No
probably
problem.
from Faith,
Yes.
but will has Faith, when you're selling it to me now, you're the one who's in that particular space, so you're the one who can possibly tell me, is when it's actually been sold to me, am I explained to as regards the data security system, or is it something that I need to get in
Mhm.
addition to that? Am I given alternatives to the same, or what happens?
Okay. Thanks, Kathy, for that question. And that's a critical question. Now, let me just look at the business as a whole in terms of the several challenges and risks that come in with technology. One of the
Yes.
risks that I said, of course, and it's a challenge, of course, is cost. And for us business owners, we are not able to go all big at once. So we have to start small. So the initial cost of adopting a technology, whether it's the hardware, software, or training, can be very significant for a small business. And so that's why I said you have to start small and scale. When you're starting small, you're starting with something you can afford. So it's an entry point for what you can afford. This may not come with a lot of, let me say, maybe training, let me say, a lot of automation of that system. It may be something very basic, and it's maybe a subscription tool that you've just ordered online for maybe managing your stocks. Now, you may be the one doing a lot of the work or your staff because initially it is not at the capacity where it can be able to do a lot of functions for you because of the cost. However, that's why I said entry points has to be affordable. But you have to make a plan also to move from maybe the subscription model to actually buying the software over time, okay? Because the advantages are more. However, I always tell um, business owners like myself to take advantage of things like, for example, grants, things like a lot of nowadays we have a lot of tech adoption tools that are being offered. Some of them are free subscriptions online. You will find that, for example, invoicing, there are many tools online that are free for the first few months for trial basis. You can start from there first, okay, to mitigate the issue of cost. Now, let's go to the issue of lack of expertise because you're not the tech person who is able to do all these many things. You're equally challenged. You're also doing business development. You're also doing HR as the owner of the business, depending on the level or where your business is at. So the challenges like those where you lack technical expertise, you can be able to get somebody on a consulting or short-term basis, an IT specialist, that can help you integrate the system into what it is you do and also train your staff. So such that your lack of technical expertise does not stall on you using that tool, or you effectively can be able to use that tool. Because if you buy it from me, I'm not the one helping you use the tool. You may be incapacitated or not in a position to use that tool depending on your level of expertise. But you could hire a consultant, an external person who is not necessarily part of your team, that
Yeah.
can help you in the short term to be able to use the system. And
Yes.
until you're good enough to go, then you let them go. That's one way of doing it. I talked about cybersecurity threats, which are a big deal. And I also said you make sure that your data is not hacked and you can be able to back up. Those are some of the
Yes.
things that these IT experts can be able to help you on a short term to be able to work on that challenge. Okay. Another
Yeah.
challenge that I see is also as business owners, we are very resistant to change. Just like the employees or your team, there is a fear of this technology, of the unknown. There's a discomfort with that change. And that's why I said, apart from just involving your own staff in training, also you invest in your own training as the owner of the business, just to understand how does this system work? How do I
Yeah.
use it effectively? It's short-term courses, nothing to go to school about. Most of the times, most of the knowledge is online and it's free. Okay, so that's one of the areas that you'd find that it's a challenge. Another risk also with technology, sometimes technology fails. Many times we plan, like see with Google Meets or Zoom meeting, and something goes wrong, there's no power, or just something goes wrong. It's not
Yeah.
always a guarantee that technology will always be at 100%. And that's why, in such cases where, for example, your inventory system has failed, maybe because the
Mm-hmm.
power is down, you still have to revert to your manual way. So you have to have at least what we call cloud storage, such that the data that you use also for this inventory system, when the system is down, you can still be able to access it manually and have your staff be able to do what you do best. Otherwise, business is affected because nothing can work because the system is failing. So we also have to realize
Yeah.
that technology is not 100%
Yeah.
always on point. It is the best thing, but also we always have to have a backup plan. So as a business owner, as you adopt the technologies, you have to also realize the challenges are there, but there are also ways of navigating the challenges. But for us, is to stay agile and be innovative at every one point when things are not working as planned. So keep innovating because we always say if you empower the team, they'll always come up with solutions that you never believe are actually possible, but they're there. So it's about also being able to work together to achieve that success.
Mm. Oh, very nice. When you have talked about that, I've remembered an incident where I was inside one of the the biggest supermarket, the retailer,
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
power kept going off. The power kept on going off, and then I think the generator was not kicking in at the right time. It would, but I think because
Mm,
of the constant power disruptions, the security system was also going on. So so we're inside the supermarket. The lights have gone on now. We sort of have a bit of the generator. The generator is just to put in a bit of the dim light, but that has also triggered the security alarm.
mm,
So now the security alarm has
mm.
is the siren, and you can imagine how noisy it is. At the same time, the doors are
I
closing.
know.
There's so much confusion. So we were all told, okay, leave your baskets of whatever it is that you're buying, kindly exit the shop, then you'll come back again. So that was
Mm,
already that's a 15 minutes of confusion. So now we come back and then we try and get back to our shopping and all that. But now when we come to now make the line so that we can get to the cashier to pay, guess what? The system has not awoken. So again, we are waiting and waiting and waiting. So the way you have just talked about, you, as much as we are moving ahead with the technology, but as you have said, it comes to fail us. And for us, it was a very bad customer experience because you're only coming for 20 minutes. You've now ended up staying for another 45 minutes.
mm.
You're frustrated. First, you have gone from bewilderment to is there a fire? And then no, there's no fire.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And the security threats, could we be
exactly.
under attack? What's
Exactly.
happening? Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I can imagine that was, yeah. And that happens to the best of us where the systems fail. Even you've been in
Yes.
meetings where somebody doesn't have power and they're the ones facilitating the meeting. So
Yeah.
yeah, so it can be quite frustrating. So it's very important. That's why we also have to have a backup system, and that can give us an intervention when such things happen, including
Mm,
going back to manual intervention when the
mm,
system is down, so long as we can be able to access that data offline.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
I think, and that's a very good, I think there's a solution that the retailers need to actually adopt. Because as soon as there's that
Mm,
power disruption, their cashier
mm,
machines go on their restarting, rebooting process. And
mm.
seriously, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's think through future trends and opportunities. So
Mm-hmm.
probably you can share with us some future trends and
Yes.
then guide us on how small business owners can leverage
Mm-hmm.
the technology to adapt to these future changes as per their industries.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Fantastic. So, as we look towards the future, the trends are emerging in a big way. And like I said, we have to embrace these trends. There's no two way about it. We have to adopt and we have to evolve with the change. So as business owners, I will give for each trend I give, I will give a way to leverage on how to leverage. So
Okay.
I'll start with AI because AI is what everyone is talking about every day, day in, day out. And we look very sophisticated also when we are talking about AI. So
Oh, yes.
AI is a current trend, and obviously, let me just say, in the next 2 3 years, there will be no two way about it. It's either you adopt or you go home. There's no two way about it. So we have to continually seek to learn what this AI is on about. But mostly for us business owners, AI is very effective in helping us streamline our operations. If you've heard of things called chat AI boxes, even for you and I, Kathy, when you're having meetings online, nowadays we have the AI note taker.
Yeah.
Previously, we didn't have an AI note taker. Nowadays, there's no need of a secretary in a meeting to take notes. There's no need for, I mean, the meeting can be recorded and there's an AI note taker that takes notes. Now, when you look at many businesses, there will be a place where, for example, those chat boxes will be important even in communicating to customers, such that you don't have to be online all the time to communicate and give feedback to customers. And we just program the chat boxes to reply messages to customers, especially at certain hours of the evening or certain hours when you're offline and you're not at work. So AI will be important in decision making and streamlining our operations and also improving our customer experiences. For example, most of us business owners are online. Social media is a big deal now for us to market our businesses. And we have very many questions that the customer is asking about your product or service. Now, at what point are you sitting to answer those questions online? Say you have customers from other countries or in other parts of the world where your timings and theirs is not the same. So, at what point are you responding to those questions online? Okay, you don't want to lose that customer. There, AI comes in. You have frequently asked questions where you program the chat box to just answer those questions as soon as they're asked. We have somebody replying to the questions. And so it's easy for us to be able to even be able to respond better, and the customer has a better experience because they don't have to wait for so long to be able to get their feedback. So that will be the future, and that is important. That's a trend now of the future. Now, how do us as business owners leverage on that? So I've said what we can be able to do. Personalized ads, when we want to make those personalized ads, AI will help us with that. Automated inventory systems, AI will be able to help us with that. So data analysis are for businesses that require data to make decisions. It will be so easy to collect that data because it's already automated. And what that does is it makes it easier for you to make decisions and strategize on the way forward. A second one is remote working spaces and collaboration tools. I think if you notice nowadays, the trend is that you don't have to be seated in an office to make work, to make it work. People now, post pandemic, work from home. How do we work from home? We have all the meetings online, and your staff can be able to be empowered to work online. Most companies now have moved from the physical offices to working 3 times a week offline, at home, and then maybe once a week for a physical meeting in the office. Some companies don't require office space anymore. What are they doing? They're using remote working spaces where you only go and meet in a space that you've hired for just that one day to be able to do what you need to do. So the remote work and collaboration tools we cannot avoid. So we will have to adopt to that and also use systems. For example, Slack. It's a very good system for organizations, and it's an inexpensive way of being able to keep track of what's happening at work with your staff because everyone fills in where they are at, and you as the owner of the business can keep track with where everyone is with their deliverables. Okay, so that is an effective collaboration tool that can be used by any business, and it's not expensive. So also as we grow our businesses, you want to scale and be in different cities or in different countries. How then are you going to enable yourself to monitor all those spaces? We have to work with remote and collaboration tools that will be able to help us to run smoothly, to run our businesses smoothly. Another one is green technology. I'm sure the buzzword is also sustainable green technology.
Yeah.
That's a big deal. But I used to wonder, how does this green, sustainable green technology, how is it really relevant to my business? Like, how is it really relevant? But
Yeah.
now, climate change has become a big concern for all of us. So, both consumers and businesses, we are feeling the heat now.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure the regulations will get to a point where there's pressure now to reduce carbon footprint and use eco friendly practices. So, how can we leverage on that as business owners? I think to empower ourselves with the knowledge, or what is this all about? What technologies are being used to invent, what technologies are being invented to be able to deal with this. So for most of us, it will be the renewable energy sources. Maybe in the
Mm-hmm.
future, we will not be all about the electricity we are using now. We will be
Mm-hmm.
using different renewable sources of energy.
Yeah.
We don't know, but I mean, I'm sure with the reducing of carbon footprint, we need to understand what it is, how it will look like in the future. Now you've
Yeah.
seen electrical cars. Once upon a time, we never imagined, even here in Kenya, you will be seeing electric cars. Now
Sure.
it's here. So very soon, and now I hear also there are many cars using gas. Very soon, and that will be the way of the future. So I'm just using that for example, somebody who's in the business of automobiles. I mean, like
Mm-hmm.
that may be the trend. Those may be the only cars that are selling at that point. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll slowly move from where we are to something bigger and different. So it's for us to empower ourselves with the knowledge and also to be able to know the regulations that will be required. Another big buzzword is the blockchain technology. I don't know if Kathy, you've heard of blockchain technology. It's also a big trend. We've had the cryptocurrency and all these big words. For business owners that are in supply chain, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
blockchain technology will be a way of the future. And so, for me and you who may not necessarily understand how these transactions work and how the
Mm-hmm.
data is shared on supply chain, it's to ensure that the business owners who are in healthcare and such logistics businesses are also benefiting from implementing blockchain, because it will be easier. It will be easier for record keeping and managing their tools in terms of what they do, because that's a different business from mine and yours. But the fact
Yeah.
is that they will require such technology. Yes. Another big deal is virtual reality, another big
Mm-hmm.
trend. Virtual reality at some point sounded like it was just for the young ones.
Yeah.
And everyone is like, VR goggles, what's this VR things? So
Yeah.
in my space where I deal with young learners
Mm-hmm.
and education sector, so
Mm-hmm.
VR will be also a way of learning, because when you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about smart technology, this is now the augmented and virtual reality we're talking about. People in real
Yeah.
estate, they're showcasing to you how your home or your mall will look like, your
Mm-hmm.
investment will look like. They have to
Uh-huh.
show you a virtual reality video of how your
Mm-hmm.
home or how
We
the
look.
mall you're investing in or
We
the
look.
building that you're constructing for
Mm-hmm.
business, maybe the ones who are realtors, how it will look
Mm-hmm.
like. So that
Mm-hmm.
interactive customer experience is using virtual reality. And very
Mm-hmm.
soon, design and technology, they will be using virtual reality to be able to give their customers the experience of what it is they're building, the products they're building. So we will have to leverage on that as business owners in that particular space. Okay. The other thing is wellness. Wellness now is a big deal. And wellness now, they're using technology for health and wellness. There's the
Mm,
smartwatches now to measure your steps, your
yes.
heartbeat,
Yes.
all those internal vital organs. So
Yeah.
imagine this technology. We never used to have all these smartwatches before, but now smartwatches are the big deal. And they're actually good for somebody who is very health conscious because they give you guidelines on how to keep yourself healthy and what you need to keep doing to keep yourself healthy. So it's a solution for wellness and health, which we cannot run away from. And so those are some of the areas that we have many more, but I'll leave it at that. Kathy, if you want, I can add more. But those are the areas that, as business owners, we'll need to leverage on as much as we are looking into the future because we cannot not adopt some of them. And the last one that I mentioned, Kathy, was about subscription models. You see, for
Yeah.
subscription models, everything now customers want is on demand, on demand. Pay per service, they're out. They may not want to engage with you for a long time. They just want to pay and they're out. So, how about having subscription models for our services, especially those who are in the digital space? So, that is able to allow us to keep our recurring revenue streams through those subscription models because someone subscribes, for example, to Netflix and all these other TV channels. Nowadays, it's subscription model. You pay once a month, you get your channels. And
Mm.
a lot of those offerings of services will be the way, will be a lot more in future where people don't want to keep coming to your office to pay for a service. They just subscribe and they get the service that they want. If it's a deliverable, maybe you have, maybe you do vegetables. Maybe
Yeah.
they just want to subscribe to what you offer. You know, these deliverables are done every 2 weeks, and they just
Yeah.
make payment online. Yeah. You see, also that's why the digital payment systems are also going to be a big deal in the future, not the traditional banking way. When was the last time you walked into a bank to make a payment, Kathy? When was the last time you walked into a bank and filled in a paper to get money or make a payment?
I'm trying to think now.
It's been long. It's been that long. That's why you cannot remember. So unless you're depositing a check,
Yes.
rarely you make any payment. Most of your payments are online. Even when you're withdrawing, you're doing mobile banking, so or online banking. So the payments also systems are going to continue to get even better in terms of payments between countries or payments
Mhm.
between different cities where you don't need to see the person or go to a bank. So these areas are areas as business owners we need to explore because as we grow our businesses, we'll need also systems that can be able to work effectively. So those are the future trends.
Mm. Oh, thank you very much, Faith. That was quite insightful. I liked the way you've introduced the virtual reality bit. And I was remembering how during, I think, the COVID time, some people had introduced the virtual experience of attending either an art show or being in the museum,
Ah.
and others were trying to introduce the tourism bit of traveling to another country
Mhm.
from the comfort of your
Virtually.
home. Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yes. Yes. It is such an amazing experience. I watched, I haven't experienced it, but recently I saw, I think it's Nairobi Chapel. I don't know which, it's Nairobi Chapel Church. I don't know
Mhm,
which of their branches were
mhm.
taking the congregation to walk in Karura. And
Oh,
they had
mhm,
yes, they had a virtual reality experience as they
mhm,
walked through the forests. The virtual reality experience was explaining the history
mhm.
of the forests.
Mm-hmm.
And as they walk through the forest in the different parts, it's explaining where they are and why, what happened when. And I
Mm.
found, wow, this it's learning history, but in a very fun way, but also in a experience. They're actually experiencing the forest, but they're also learning the history behind it. I found that quite something. And you see, that's somebody who has discovered a way of making money as a business
Yes.
owner using virtual
Yes.
reality. And that
Mm.
experience now, I'm sure so many customers and so many
Yeah.
people are
Yeah.
adopting it. So, a
Oh.
good experience for the customer, but also a business idea for the business
Mm-hmm.
owner. And I'm sure that idea will grow bigger and bigger because as they navigate all our forests, for example, and there's history behind them. I mean,
Yes.
that's a nice way of learning history. Yeah. It's just like the way when you go to those countries where they do the city tours and there's a virtual
Yeah.
reality experience,
Yeah.
but now you put on, yeah, you put on the earphones and you're able to listen to what happened here, this city, what happened to this museum, what happened then. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
history without necessarily rereading the books.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I
There's a
find that
lot.
quite interesting. Yeah,
There's
yeah.
a lot. All right. We come to an end. We want to say thank you, Faith, for that insightful conversation. And thank you all for your presence. And this brings us to the end of this week's Founders Conversation, powered by SME Founders Association, where we connect entrepreneurs and professionals to money, markets, and mentors. Joining us is easy. Simply visit our website and become a partner for just 5,000 shillings, helping you unlock access to valuable learning and networking opportunities. I have been your host, Catherine Karaoke. Until next Thursday, join us for more insights and strategies on being tech driven in business sustainability. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you so much.